addressing caste discrimination, about talking about students' welfare on campus, or is it political positioning dressed up as social justice? The Karnataka government is going to introduce the Rohith Vemula Bill, named after the young PhD scholar from Hyderabad, whose tragic death in 2016 triggered a nationwide outcry against caste discrimination in universities. This comes just months after Rahul Gandhi personally wrote to the Chief Minister urging the state to pass a law in Vemula's name. Let's first break down for you what is likely to be in the bill. It bans discrimination on the grounds of caste, class, religion or gender in all higher educational institutions. Tough penalties have been proposed. Discrimination is non-bailable and a cognizable offence, which means that arrest can be made without a warrant. In the case of a first offence, the accused or the institution will face 1 year imprisonment plus 10,000 rupees in fines. A repeat offence will attract 3 years in prison and 1 lakh rupee fine as well. Courts can order institutions or offenders to pay up to 1 lakh rupees to the victim. Crucially, institutions which are found to practice exclusion or discrimination even risk losing government aid or grants. This means that internal inquiries aren't enough and violation invites a legal crackdown. As the bill is being scrutinized, the question that arises is, do we need a new law when already there is an SC/ST Act which does exactly this? The SC/ST Act, remember, focuses on atrocities against scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, as the name suggests. This bill, however, widens the scope. It covers OBCs and religious minorities. In this act, the compensation is routed via the state, while the bill allows direct compensation by courts. The Rohith Vemula Bill, that is, allows direct compensation to be ordered by courts. The bill also orders direct legal action against universities and institutes, while in the act, institutions were booked in specific cases only and the focus was largely on individuals. We're talking about the SC/ST Act that focused largely on individuals. Now, what is the criticism that the Rohith Vemula Bill is facing? One is that it bundles too many identities like caste, religion and class, trying to make it too broad and perhaps even unenforceable. By making these offences non-bailable, it could be open to misuse. There is obviously allegations of pandering to a vote bank. But why is the Congress backing this bill so strongly? That is because of Rahul Gandhi's association with Rohith Vemula's family. Remember, in 2016, he himself took part in the protests that were held after Vemula's death in Hyderabad. Over the course of the years, Rahul Gandhi has repeatedly made a pledge to pass the Rohith Vemula Act. The backdrop of this bill is equally important. In 2015, a confrontation at Hyderabad Central University between Ambedkar Students Association and ABVP members sparked a chain of events. The university suspended 5 students, including Rohith Vemula. Then on the 17th of January 2016, Rohith died by suicide and his letter ignited a nationwide movement. The allegation was made that he was driven to suicide because of the caste that he came from. Because he was a Dalit, he faced an institutional bias, and that is why he was discriminated into killing himself. In May 2024, however, things were turned on their head because a closure report was filed by the police where they claimed that Rohith was not a Dalit at all and he died. He took his life because he feared that his real identity would be exposed. The fact that his family had obtained the caste certificate fraudulently would be exposed, and the closure report said that there is actually no evidence linking the university's action to his suicide. However, after strong objections from Vemula's family and politicians, the Telangana DGP further said that they will carry out a further investigation. Now that brings us to the big questions over this entire story. What really is this Rohith Vemula Bill? Is it discriminatory? Is it too wide-ranging? Is it political in nature? And can really this bill be brought in talking about addressing caste discrimination on campuses when the Telangana police itself has found that there was no caste discrimination? In their closure report, they have said categorically that Rohith Vemula's death was in no way connected to any bias or caste discrimination. Satya Prakash, spokesperson of the Congress, joins us along with Vijay Prashad, spokesperson of the BJP. We have Ramkrishna Upadhyay, senior journalist, and Pankaj Sharma, political analyst. Before I go across to the politician, I want to ask your analysis, Ramkrishna Upadhyay, of the clauses that we know so far. Remember, it's not been put up in the public domain for consultations. It's likely to be brought in the monsoon session. But why is it creating so much discomfort? Why is there opposition to this bill?
Well, Padmaja, the Karnataka's bill is an outcome of, Rahul Gandhi's letter to the Chief Minister. And I think he has written a similar letter to the Chief Minister of Telangana also. But let us remember that there is an ongoing case in the Supreme Court, filed by Vemula's mother. So in which case, she has very distinctly mentioned this caste discrimination case, and this is being heard by a double bench. So where the center has made certain proposals, certain regulations being framed by the UGC and all that. All this has been happening, since February. So Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party have woken up a little too late, trying to get some mileage out of this, because the center has already, come up with a proposal through the UGC, which I would like to point out to you. The UGC's, Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Regulations 2025. It defines the caste-based discrimination against scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and defines the discrimination as any unfair, differential or biased treatment of any such act against any stakeholder, on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. So this is a very broad thing. And then it also says an expert committee has given a report, and based on that, certain regulations have been framed by the UGC and they have been presented to the Supreme Court. In fact, in April 25, the Supreme Court has accepted those, and they said let they be notified.
Okay.
It was opposed. It was opposed by some of the applicants, saying that no, let there be some more discussion on this. There is a national task force which is going into it. But the court said nothing prevents these new clauses to be added. But let there be this this thing to be included now, so that there is some protection for SCs and STs.
Yeah.
So this is the reality. Already since the central government has already moved, Rahul Gandhi's thought that he's being left out, and he is now telling the state governments he controls that you come up with your own proposals.
So what is the logic of this, Satya Prakash? If already the center is working in that direction, one, and two, the very idea of naming this after Rohith Vemula, when the entire theory of him being a victim of caste discrimination has been discounted by the police in a state where your party is in government.
Hi, Padmaja Joshi.
Hi.
You need to understand, only a hungry stomach will know the pain of sleeping hungry. Only the discriminated classes know what is happening in these universities. Today, you go to any university, name them. The central universities, the institutes of higher learning have become modern day agraharams. You ask anyone. Today, what does this bill say? I'll read out this bill for you. To prevent exclusion or injustice and to safeguard right to education for SC, ST, backwards and minorities. Whatever my friend said in the UGC, backwards and minorities name only is not there. Next, and to provide equal access.
Everybody, sir.
And right to education in all public, private and deemed universities. Now, in these so-called modern day agraharams, do you know the composition of the faculty, both teaching and non-teaching?
But then why are you naming it? Okay, very noble intention that you don't want caste discrimination. Why are you naming it after Rohith Vemula?
I will tell you why because he has become an enigma of sort. Today, any discrimination in universities, Rohith Vemula's name comes directly into our mind. Because
it comes into your mind, but let me quote to you what the closure report, which has been filed by the Gachibowli police station in court, by the way, has said. It might be an enigma to you, but if you read the closure report, this enigma would be resolved quite easily. And I am quoting from that closure report. The Gachibowli police filed a closure report before the court on the 21st of March 2024. This report says, that Rohith Vemula did not belong to the scheduled caste. In fact, the caste clarification report by the district level scrutiny committee constituted by the district collector in Guntur conclusively decided that Rohith Vemula and his family belong to the BCA Vadera caste. They had obtained scheduled caste certificates fraudulently. My view is also that the suicide did not relate to any activities of the university administration or the above political leaders. His suicide note is on record, which shows that Rohith Vemula had his own problems and was not happy with the worldly affairs. The deceased was disappointed and unhappy over his childhood. The deceased seemed to be unhappy with the organizations with which he worked. The deceased also seemed to be under severe depression and disappointment. And it goes on and on, but I will not quote you, I will not bore you with 2-3 pages of this entire conclusion, but it's a closure report that has been filed by a police that reports to a Congress government.
Okay, Padmaja, don't go after Rohith Vemula. Here, Rohith Vemula is just a name.
I'm not going after anybody, sir. I'm stating facts. You said that Rohith Vemula died because of caste discrimination. Therefore, you need to bring in a law in his name. I am asking you, how did you come to this conclusion when your state police does not agree?
See, did Congress government file that report?
Yes.
Once a case is filed, the police will take. It's now Rohith Vemula's mother has gone to the Supreme Court against that.
The Telangana police has filed it. You are in government in Telangana.
That's okay. Government doesn't file it. The police does. Police is independent of the government.
So you trust the police, right? So if you trust your police, you are running the government. The police reports to your home department. That very same police has said that he was not a victim of caste discrimination.
You tell me, how can you come to conclusion? The case is still in the Supreme Court. Any child born for intercaste parents, that means if one of the parents belongs to the Dalit community, he is eligible to become, the child is eligible to choose the caste of either of the parents.
Don't tell me this. Tell your police this. My simple political question to you is, are you trying to use Rohith Vemula's name? Unfortunate that his death is, unfortunate that his suicide is. Are you trying to use him for your caste politics?
No. Are you saying that Rohith Vemula went for a suicide just like that without any discrimination?
No, I'm not saying it. Telangana police said it. I'm not saying it. Telangana police said it.
No, that's okay. That is the investigation. His mother has gone to Supreme Court.
In fact, let me quote further. Since I don't want you for a moment to harbor the thought that I am making any insinuations about Rohith Vemula. It's a very detailed report, by the way. It further goes on to say the deceased, that is Rohith Vemula himself, is aware that he does not belong to the scheduled caste and that his mother got him SC certificate, and it could be one of the constant fears as the exposure of the same would put him to loss of his academic degrees that he earned over the years and be compelled to face prosecution. Terrible, unfortunate that he had to die. But sir, why are you trying to label his suicide for your politics?
Padmaja, if he doesn't belong to SC, does he belong to OBC at least? This bill covers the OBC also. Okay, for a moment, let me come to one conclusion that Rohith Vemula belongs to OBC. So in this bill, we have covered the OBC and minorities, religious minorities also. Don't go behind the person. Here, the problem is discrimination against SC, ST, OBC and minorities.
But there was no discrimination. Not only did he not have the caste you claim, he wasn't discriminated against. That is what your police concluded. That he did not commit suicide because of discrimination. He committed suicide because of a fraudulent caste certificate and the fear of exposure.
Why did he write a letter that he was discriminated against?
Ask your police that.
No. How can you come to that conclusion? No.
I haven't for the NH time come to that conclusion.
Your own Congress
Your police came to the conclusion.
The case is in Supreme Court. Let the Supreme Court. We should not talk of anything until Supreme Court decides on it. But what I am telling you is talk about the bill. Don't go
Supreme Court is not going into the death
of this bill.
Yeah, the Supreme Court is not investigating the death of Rohith Vemula. First of all, I think that needs to be factually corrected, Mr. Satya Prakash.
I will give you some statistics.
Hold on a second.
Statistics. Only 2% of professors in all institutes of higher learning belong to SC, ST and OBC. You tell me, how will these people give justice to the deprived communities?
Okay.
This is the problem.
These are two separate issues. Okay, so let me ask Vijay Prashad that. Vijay Prashad, don't go into minutiae. Discrimination is a reality, it exists, and the Congress now wants to bring in a law to end it. What's your problem?
See, very good evening, Padmaja. See, this Congress spokesperson he has come with a ready-made template with a standard reply and whataboutery without justifying the reasons for the bill. See, the Karnataka Congress is attempting to bring a politically loaded and dangerous vague bill in the name of Rohith Vemula. See, this is not a social justice bill. It is a social division bill. It criminalizes teachers, threatens academic freedom, and brings an atmosphere of fear on our campuses. See, Karnataka does not need Rahul Gandhi's imported politics of victimhood. What we need is implementation of
why
the
you are saying
existing
that.
laws.
Why are you making these allegations? On what basis?
No, I will tell you. I will come back to that. See, I will see even our BJP opposition leader in the council, Chelwadi Narayan Swamy, he categorically said that the idea of addressing the caste discrimination in education, and this one legislature agreed that there must be a ban on such discrimination. However, we are saying that the draft bill is the right mechanism. Is it the right mechanism? Arguing that its risk overreach could be misused. And see, BJP supports the goal of eliminating caste-based discrimination in higher education. But what we object is the legislative overreach over the political, the practical implementation, poor definition of discrimination, overly punitive provisions. What it says, what we are against is the words non-bailable, cognizable with jail term and heavy fines in the appropriate way to tackle campus discrimination. See, it says, however, the bill includes a draconian provisions such as non-bailable offences, 1 lakh fine, and arrest without warrant, sparking concerns over potential misuse. See,
but the fact is, sir, one thing is quite clear, that given how sensitive these caste equations are, is your party even openly opposing this bill when it is brought in the monsoon session? Can you categorically say that your party even is going to be opposing? Because when they asked for a caste census, your party did a caste census nationwide. So caste is basically a ground which you don't want to be caught in.
You're reading it wrong, and you're putting your words into my mouth. So
okay, so let me put my words in my mouth and ask you a direct question. If the Rohith Vemula bill is brought in by the Karnataka government tomorrow in the Legislative Assembly, will you oppose it, yes or no?
We are not opposing the bill. Padmaja, what I say is India already has strong laws to deal with caste-based discrimination. SC/ST Atrocities Act, UGC anti-discrimination guidelines. When we have such laws, why the duplicate bill? The government should think of the effective implementation of the existing laws rather than bringing in a new law.
Okay, let me ask Pankaj Sharma that. When you already have an SC/ST Act and you are bringing in guidelines from the UGC against caste discrimination, then what is the real intent? Or Pankaj Sharma, let me ask you more specifically, is this a trap laid for the BJP? Because even the Congress party today knows that when it comes to the issues of SC/ST, OBC and the issue of caste discrimination, the BJP simply cannot be seen to opposing it.
Before answering this question, let me tell you that please don't say that Rohith Vemula was not a Dalit. Forget about police closure reports. We have a history of police closure reports.
No, sir, I'm sorry. I have quoted the Telangana Police's closure report. Don't say I am saying it. I am quoting the Telangana Police. So let's be very clear on that.
Why are you not quoting Guntur District Collector Kantilal Nanded's report, which he submitted to the National Commission for Scheduled Castes? The report in its operative parts says, as per the available documentary evidence with the Tehsildar Guntur, Shri Rohith Vemula belongs to Hindu Mala caste, which is classified as scheduled caste in Andhra Pradesh. Please quote that also.
Yes, because that is a report that was before the police when they conducted their investigation, and yet they came to this conclusion. So I am going by what the latest conclusion is. It's as simple as that.
Who will decide? Is it the police or the courts?
Now I am coming to your question. See, there is criminal violence bill, there is SC/ST bill, but they have their own limitations. So is ensuring equal access to education for marginalized groups in educational institution is a sin. It's not a sin. If government is doing this, bringing this bill, it is very good.
But already laws exist. Already laws exist.
But they have their own limitations. You have to broaden the area of these things. See, offences under this bill are non-bailable, cognizable. And first-time offenders will get this. But yes, I would say that the provisions for giving powers to police to make an arrest without a warrant must be reviewed. A mere accusation of exclusion or injustice should not open automatically case against the accused. So this part of this bill must be reviewed. Under this law, the victim or their kin would be able to file police complaints directly. This is also a welcome step. Thus, it will enable quick action against discrimination.
Okay, Ramkrishna Upadhyay, what is the harm if they are broadening the scope? Again, in the SC/ST Act, there was no OBC there was no minority there. They are just broadening the scope of social justice measures inside universities. Mr. Upadhyay.
No, Padmaja, I think it's just a question of scaremongering. It's just a question of scaremongering that the Karnataka government is trying to bring in here, because the SC/ST Act already looks at all these issues. I mean, whether it's inside the institutions or outside. So that is not, that is nothing new. All these provisions are there in the SC/ST Act. That if you discriminating by way of caste, then the brain harm is there. Everything is there. So there is no point in bringing it into the institutions. Rather than providing for reformation of the institutions, providing for justice within the institutions, this is just a scaremongering in the name of Vemula.
Mr. Satyaprakash?
The UGC regulation very clearly states that
this is not just about
Let me just finish.
This is more than SC/ST.
Let me just finish.
This is about all marginalized communities. It includes SC/ST. It includes marginalized OBC. It includes marginalized minorities. I will give you some data, very important data. The OBCs and SC/STs don't even constitute 2% of the total professors, HODs in all universities in this country. All universities in this country, the HODs belong to upper caste. I will give you some data. The amount of years that a SC/ST student takes to complete his PhD is ranging from 5 to 7 years. The number of years that an OBC takes to complete his PhD is taking somewhere around 3 to 5 years. While an upper caste, it is just 2 to 3 years.
No.
Professors will agree with me.
I think it has nothing to do with this bill. And if the upper caste are doing better than the OBCs, then that's a fact of the case. I mean, what is it trying to say here? So we are talking about this bill which has been brought by the Karnataka
What are you trying to say, Satyaprakash? This is utter nonsense what he is talking about.
And I think we need to look at the regulations.
Means all the top positions
Okay, Mr. Satyaprakash, first of all, I don't see, with the greatest of respect, how is this data that you are quoting relevant to the law that you have brought? Because last I read, Rohith Vemula law was not going to increase the number of SC/ST, OBC and minority professors in colleges. So I don't see why you are, making a comparison between apples and oranges.
The Congress is going about the
I will explain. See,
this is the same kind of logic you gave, sir, saying that, of all the Miss Indias, there have been no OBC Miss Indias. I mean, what does that have to do with the Rohith Vemula bill?
I will explain. When it comes to PhD, most of the PhDs require a higher up. The professors to...
Okay, so is that going to change with the Rohith Vemula law? Are you going to change that with the Rohith Vemula law? Are you going to ensure that all the HODs and the PhDs are going to be from SC/ST, OBC category? It won't, na sir. Then why are you quoting random data to support a completely different argument? Right now, we are talking about caste discrimination. One, and there are two very basic questions that need to be addressed. One, Rohith Vemula name being attached to this, is this really a little disingenuous given what the police has said about his caste status? And second, is there a need for a law like this at all, given that laws already exist?
Padmaja, kindly look at the reports, various reports that have been given. Most of the reports say a lot of discrimination happens.
Okay, that is, with the
SC,
greatest of
students and
respect,
OBC
again, a very
universities.
vague
This is
statement
not what
saying
I am saying.
a lot of discrimination
Please ask
happens.
the-
Lot of people would
No,
say a lot
Padmaja,
of discrimination
Padmaja,
happens against
Padmaja,
other castes
you
as
should
well.
also,
And this
no,
bill is
Padmaja, you should also give
discrimination.
me some time.
Vijay
No,
Prashad.
Padmaja, you should also, no, but
Please ask the
Padmaja, see,
academician.
Padmaja, no. See, I think he has to keep quiet. Yeah, he is troubling all the other panelists. See here, Padmaja, the bill is particularly a draft bill, vague clauses, punitive overemphasis and over-reliance on criminal provisions without complementary preventive measures. See, that means this bill itself is becoming a more draconian than than giving any measures to the existing laws. See, I don't know why Congress is more hell-bent on bringing in Rohith Vemula. The name itself is not related to Karnataka, but the Karnataka government in Congress, the Congress government in Karnataka, they want to use the Rohith Vemula's name and bring in a law. They bring in a law which criminalizes the higher education system. That is what they're doing. That is what they're going into. See, that is what BJP is against. We are saying that
Okay.
why can't the Congress use the existing laws?
And Pankaj
more
Sharma, what do you
punitively?
say to the argument that this is reverse discrimination against the upper caste, that this is going to turn extremely draconian and always put certain castes and communities at the receiving end?
No, this is not draconian.
Why do you feel like
On the
this,
other hand,
Padmaja?
on
Why is
contrary,
it not draconian?
this bill has,
Why don't you say?
this
why
bill
is it not
has some
draconian?
very mild,
See, what will happen now,
mild provisions.
Pankaj, my question is, what will
You know, if
happen?
an
What will
institution
happen if there is
violates
a
any
false
provision,
allegation?
Just a second, sir.
if
Let
an
Pankaj Sharma speak.
institution violates any provision, then what can be done? That the institution will not be provided any financial aid or grant from the government. But I think it is a very mild punishment. It should be much more than this. The functionaries of such institutions must be held personally responsible and prosecuted for the violations. So this bill is not draconian. I would rather say that this bill is very mild. Some
But
provisions
sir,
are very
if
mild.
one was to take the
No, no.
example,
Padmaja,
and we
what
still
would
have to
be
see
a
the
classic
fine print
case?
of
I
this
appreciate.
bill as and when it is brought in. But if I was to extend your argument just for a second to the case after which this bill is named, Rohith Vemula's case, you're saying that you penalize an institution where such an allegation is made, even while the trial is on, you withdraw all their grants, you shut down that place, you give compensation, and what if 1 year later, actually in the case of Rohith Vemula, 7 years later you find out that the initial allegations were not true at all? What happens then to that institution which has lost all grants, which has lost its recognition? I will leave it at that. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining us. However, it will be interesting and important to see what the fine print of the law says, and more importantly, if it stands legal scrutiny. Thanks for watching.
मेरा नया कुकी होल्डर कप एक तेरे लिए मंगाऊं? नहीं। मेरा नया क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल, मेरे नए म्यूजिक गॉगल्स मंगाओ क्या? मेरा नया रेन प्रोटेक्टर।
यही नई गाड़ी,
नाइस।
कप होल्डर है, बुकी भी रख सकते हैं, क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल है, म्यूजिक भी।
सेविंग्स की विद्या तो खुद से सीखे।
कुछ बड़ा बनाना है तो पहले बचाओ। फेडरल बैंक से रिश्ता बनाओ।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है।